Conecta el mundo.
Rusty Russell, lead developer, Lightning at Blockstream, Australia.
Coonawarra is the most important wine region within the limestone coast zone of South Australia, credited with producing some of the best red wines in the entire country. Do you like to visit events as the Coonawarra Cabernet Celebration or Barrel Auction and the annual Coonawarra Cup?
No.
Did you already read the 2 lightning papers from our previous guest, Gijs van Dam?
No.
Dr. Andrew Trigel is an Australian developer. He analyzed complex proprietary protocols and algorithms to allow compatible free and open source software implementations. Is he one of the best hackers you ever worked with?
Yes.
Do you play didgeridoo in your spare time?
No.
Is C your favorite programming language?
Yes.
The name New Holland is a historical name for mainland Australia. It was first applied in 1644 by the Dutch seafarer Abel Tasman, best known for the discovery of Tasmania. Have you ever been on a trip to Tasmania?
Yes.
Echoes is the final track from the 1971 album Metal by English rock band Pink Floyd. The track is 23.5 minutes long and was composed by combining a variety of different musical themes and ideas. Is this the best song from your favorite band?
No.
My wife pushed me to work for Blockstream.
Yes.
Adam Ferguson published in 1975 When Money Dies. The book was hailed as a cult classic in the wake of the financial crisis of 2007-2008, with copies changing hands on eBay for up to $1,000. As a result, When Money Dies was republished in 2010. Did you read something you didn't know yet?
Yes.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connect the World Weekly Podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. And this is episode 18 of Connect the World. Stef, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Edward. How are you doing, man?
Well, also great. No, it was a great week. So yeah,
and a busy day today because I saw that you recorded a quick talk with our friend Kloek from Cheese Robot, right?
Exactly.
Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm very glad because something happened to him. I talked about it very short in the last episode. I mentioned that he had to recover his node. And well, his routing node, Lightning.watch, has over 1,200 channels. So it's a lot. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to record a quick note about what happened. And for those who don't know him, Kloek is the man behind Cheese Robot and the routing node Lightning.watch. And he was also a guest from episode 1. And I discussed with him what actually happened with his routing node, how he recovered, and we cover some tips for node operators, how to be able to recover smoothly and from such a disaster, and preventing this from happening because that's the best, of course. Yeah. If you want, I can. I selected a short bit of it to listen about what he's saying about the recovery. What did you exactly do, and also with your paying customers? You said it already.
Yeah. But, So the recovery meant needing to close all the channels, which underlying that actually means asking all your peers to close your channel with you, and then. Well, you need to do that on a new node. So I put a new node in, put my old seed phrase in. So it's very important to keep that seed phrase, at least to close the, or to get the on-chain balance, but also so you can use the same public key again. That's derived from that those seed words you get when you install LND. So I needed to install a new node and then say do the recovery steps. And now this week I'm opening channels to my paying customers because they do expect the Lightning Watch service to come back. The service that alerts you if your node is down. It has been down for a week now, which is a real shame. And now I will reimburse everyone, of course. But first, we're opening new channels.
Well, you can imagine, Stef, this is a horrible thing, of course, and it's really interesting to listen to it. So I invite everyone, check the show notes. It's going to be online very soon with this episode, so you can watch it.
And is his heart rate already at the normal level? Or
Yeah. It's all good again, and I have a channel with him, and the channel was up again, so it's it's great. Yeah.
I just opened mine this weekend, so
so that's nice that it works. And I'm not gonna say everything. It's in the quick talk because of course he doesn't have 1,200 channels right now. But that's due to another thing. Listen to it, and it's very interesting.
Cool. Hey, Edward, this week we welcome Rusty Russell as a guest to join us.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's a Linux and Bitcoin developer, and of course a Lightning OG from Blockstream. We had a very pleasant chat with him. But before we go any further, we want to mention the winner of the prize of last week, because our guest from last week, Zephyrin Bueller, or Zevi, he gave away 2 3-month subscriptions to lnrouter.app. Very useful tool again for routing node operators. And we are going to give away one prize this week and the other one next week. So before we mention the winner of this week, please like and retweet the announcement of this episode by Jonī Kyasshu. Check also the show notes for the URL. And maybe you are the next winner, and we will announce the next winner in the next episode, of course. But today, Edward, who is the winner of this time? Nice raffle.
It's Jubal. And Jubal, congratulations. I really think this is awesome to test. And if you don't have it, I'm guessing so. Then let us know also what you think of it in a tweet or something. And to get your prize, get in contact with Jonī Kyasshu on Twitter or on Telegram.
Yeah,
exactly. And let us know.
Cool.
All right.
And let's talk a little bit about the statistics of the Lightning Network, Edward, and of course about our Rings of Fire community. Yeah. And then the second part will be with our Lightning OG Rusty.
Yeah, have fun, guys.
Have fun.
Connect the world.
Okay, so last week we had a little over 27 Bitcoin pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week we added 80 million Satoshis. It's a little less than 28 Bitcoin now, with around 930 members participating in over 116 rings.
So an extra 80 million sets.
Yes, crazy.
Amazing. Man. Yeah, we're at block height 729,281. And the network as a whole, there are 83 nodes less than last week. That happens sometimes. So more than 20,675 nodes with a network capacity of 3,568 Bitcoin.
Cool.
And the value of today's, Stef, what is it?
Today's value of 1 million Satoshis is $450, 411 euros, and 2,865 Chinese yuan.
Conectează lumea.
And for the news of today, we have a lot of topics. Let's walk through it. Well, Blix Wallet. El Salvador chooses Blix Wallet as an official Lightning app. And, this is bullish news. Najib Bukele has met with Hampus Sjöberg, and that's the Blix developer, to discuss the national implementation of Blix Wallet as official Lightning Wallet for El Salvador. And the program will be funded from the Volcano Bonds, private funding of Max Kaiser, and crowdfunding. And they're also putting a big effort in educating people. I think that's a very good thing to how to use Bitcoin and Blix Wallet. So that's nice. and very important. Thailand, news from Thailand. Last week we had some news about Bitcoin adopted as legal transfer in Malaysia. This week it's a total different news from Thailand because they announced a medium of payment ban for Bitcoin and crypto. And this way, businesses are preventing from receiving Bitcoin as a payment. Investing or trading is still allowed, though.
So we can scratch that from the list to visit that one.
Exactly. If you want to read more about it, in the show notes is Bitcoin Magazine article. And it's a bummer.
Yeah,
these things happen. An interesting to read article, a guest post actually about privacy in Bitcoin Magazine. I've read it. It's written by Heidi Porter, and important to mention that it is her own opinion about this topic. So make up your own mind. I made up mine, and I think, it's a well-known conclusion, but this doesn't make it less true. So her end conclusion, I quote, is that even if you don't care about privacy for yourself, know that privacy matters for many others. And your actions or inactions with Bitcoin and Lightning can compromise their security. That's another way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a well-known conclusion, like I said, but it's interesting to read anyway. Payment delivery algorithm update. I've read that René Picard posted an email to the Lightning Dev mailing list, and he stated that he found a quick way to approximate the slow minimum convex cost flow computation. And this will result in a reliable and cheap payment flows to deliver large multipath payments over the Lightning Network. Also, check the show notes to read more about it. And then for the updates this week, I picked out 3 interesting things. LB, don't know if you know it, Stef, but it's
I'm checking right now because I've installed it, but I didn't log in very often. So I'm just going to check if I can log in again. So
okay. All right. Well, for all listeners and watchers, it's a Bitcoin Lightning app for your browser. So you can install it in your browser. And I really like it because it makes it possible to pay creators instantly when browsing. So if you consume an article or something, you can choose to reward the content. And as a content creator like we are, I really believe this is the future. And it makes room for, some 3.0 Lightning support. It adds keysense support, and the connectors are interesting because you can connect it to your own node. So Umbrel, MyNode, Citadel, Start9, anything you like.
But this wasn't the case, right? Because I have connected to Lightning Tipbots. I was connected to Lightning Tipbot, but I can also connect it to Umbrel, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. To make a donation for Connect the World, of course, you don't need LB, but I think it's interesting if you look at support for things online.
Yeah.
So creating an article or something else.
I've added it to my Twitter account, so to my Twitter profile. So you can tip me on Twitter using.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I also added LN URL withdrawal support. And Hexa wallet, I personally don't use it, but it's interesting. It's a Bitcoin wallet, and they updated adding Lightning support for LND users running their own nodes. So that's new. So that's interesting. And Lightning Development Kit, there are 2 mentions that I want to make. They added support for the short channel identifier. And this is useful for privacy because it prevents the short channel identifier from disclosing to third parties with transactions the node created. So that's important, I think. And they also added offset CLTV, check log time verify. It means those values for routing payments as recommended by Bolt 7. This makes it more difficult to check part of the payment attempt and to correctly guess which node might be the intended receiver. Also, the show notes, the whole GitHub information is in the show notes.
Cool.
Verbinden die Welt.
Yes, you can take a break, Edward.
Exactly, I'm going to drink some.
Yes,
It
let's
was a
talk
lot.
a bit about the Rings of Fire forecast and some anecdotes from last week. Let's start with the 500k 30th ring. We only have one spot left in that one. And the 1 million Satoshis 33rd ring, we have 2 spots left. So if you want to join one of these, you have to hurry up a bit because only a few spots left. And the rings with the other liquidity, we have plenty of spots left. So you can check them out as well. And then some anecdotes. We balanced 4 rings last week. So it was a pretty busy week again. 3 million Satoshis 13th ring with node operators from Italy, Germany, and Holland. We keep on burning and balancing with Abracadabra, our Yvette from Yvette.
Yvette, yeah.
She was born in Holland, by the way. I talked to her.
I didn't know that.
And she makes amazing Bitcoin candy. You can buy it at her web shop. So
I saw the pictures. Yeah,
if you're
really
interested in
nice.
that, do a shout out in our Telegram group, and I will hit you up with Yvette. But she, as experienced ringleader and a great team effort of the rest, the ring was balanced very smoothly with near zero fees. So that was a very nice one. Then we have the 2 million Satoshis 18th ring with node operators. It was a bit of a collaboration between Holland and Germany. Amazing work by Spectrum21. He balanced this one with 0 fees, although he was a bit nervous. I couldn't tell that this was his first time as a ringleader. It went very smooth, and Nathan, because Spectrum21 is obviously his handle, but his name is Nathan, was very well prepared. So a good job, mate. Then we have the 500k 29th ring with node operators for Germany, Holland, and Italy again. And it was, let me check. Oh yeah, the second one of tonight. Hans Wurst 21 took care of this one and made sure the script runs smoothly. We had some fun in the group as always, and guys, enjoy your freshly balanced channels. And thanks for the effort, Hans. Hans Wurst, because we have a Dutch.
His name is.
We make a bit fun of Hans Wurst in Holland, but it's also a bit of a funny name in Germany. So I chatted with him in the ring about it. So it was pretty funny. And then we have the 10 million Satoshis, pretty high liquidity ring, the 5th 10 million Satoshis ring, with node operators from Iceland. It was actually the first participant from Iceland, if I remember well. USA, Swiss, France, it's the French flag, and Holland. And the one and only Kloek was in this ring. Well, not much to say about this one. Ringleader, all you bankers belong to us. I guess.
Amazing title.
Yeah, just
all your base are belong to us. Somebody needs to say it. It's a great name. Yeah, and he says all your bankers. So
great, right? Just aced it in 2 minutes. Well done. Addition as Kaaskoekje, that is Kloek, mentions it. It is indeed noteworthy that this ring added a half Bitcoin to the Lightning Network. So that's why we added 81 million Satoshis this week, Edward. We had a pretty nice week, man.
I was thinking, it makes me kind of hungry because you say the licorice and then the sweets and then the Wurst. It's a sausage in English. We will put in the show notes the link of Yvette. And the name all your bank are belong to us. I will put also in the show notes something else. It's a meme, very old one. And his name is related to that. He will like it.
Cool, nice one.
So that's that. Thanks, Stef.
Tilknytt. Wel.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use 2-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. It's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF and follow our lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SAT trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show.
Connecter le monde.
Welcome, Rusty, to our show. We're excited. How are you?
Good. I am well. Yes.
All right.
And good morning, is it at your side, right? Because
oh yeah, it is early here. So.
It is very early at your side. The sun didn't came up for now.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So here we're in the dark too, but it's night, of course. So total different part of the world.
Yeah.
And well, they say I don't know if they're right, but internet speed is still a big issue in Australia. Is that right? And how can it be in 2022?
Yeah, big country. Clueless leadership, all the normal things.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have fiber yet, not here. I do at work, my co-working space, but not here.
No.
Yeah, because I saw that if you want to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast, it takes you 4,500 kilometers. And I think it was for like 49 hours to travel all the way, by car, of course, to travel all the way from East to the West Coast of Australia.
Yeah, no one would do that. You'd fly.
No, exactly. Everyone
if you say 49 hours, I'm like, sure, I guess so. If you did that, don't do that.
No, you don't do that very often. No. But it's such a big country of a big continent. Obviously, it's actually bigger than Europe, Edward. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because a lot of people from our country go there and they rent some RV or something, and then they travel by car whole country. Yeah. So then those hours are normal, but I think the normal inhabitants won't never do that.
No, there's nothing there, right?
No, exactly.
There's people on the edge and there's emptiness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, and you organized a Lightning Summit in your hometown, Adelaide. This was also your biggest experiment using the Lightning Network. Can you tell us more about it?
No. My biggest experiment using the Lightning Network was before the first summit, which was in Milan in 2015. I organized the second summit in 2018. And the reason I did the second one is they keep getting bigger. And I thought, if I don't do this one, then it's going to be huge. So I'll do it while it's still small. So yeah, everyone flew in to my hometown in Adelaide, Australia, which was fun. And I said to them, like, do you want beach or do you want wine country? I was hoping for wine country. Everyone likes the beach.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a nice conference facility right there on the beach, and it was pretty good. Although it was kind of like late in the year, it's a bit on the cool side for me, but everyone else thought it was great weather.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. But I think everyone drank enough wine in Milan, of course, because Italy is obviously one of the most popular countries for wine drinking, and Australia also produces a lot of good wines. And I personally, my favorite white wine is from New Zealand for the Marlborough plant of the Marlborough grape. I think that's one of my favorite wines. So but I think that may be one of the reasons that everyone wanted to visit the beach then.
Yeah, maybe they did. But, for us, it's normal. Like, so Adelaide's like this basically cigar-shaped north-south city with the beach on one side. So the beach is always 10 minutes away. So you just take it for granted. You're like, well, of course. Like, why would you go to the beach? It's always here. When you could drink wine. Anyway,
Rusty, there was one question of the 10 question where I was triggered. And I thought, well, Andrew Trigel, What did you do with him, and who is he? Perhaps you can tell more about him.
Oh, so he's the author of Samba. He's the author of Rsync. He is also currently working. He does UAV stuff now. So Tridge is a classic hacker in the sense of he is both a brilliant programmer, but also has this enthusiasm for things, right? So I met him when I organized the first Australian Linux conference back in the day in 1999. And he was the head of the Canberra Linux user group. And I ended up actually moving to Canberra to work with him. And we worked together at Linux Care back in the startup days. And just there's incredible enthusiasm and just somebody who has so many brilliant ideas that he doesn't keep them all to himself. Like some people, if you're like me and you have like 3 really good ideas, then you kind of want to work on them yourself. But when you have like 1,000, you just throw them out to people and you get really enthusiastic and ask them to go run with them for you, right? So he's one of those people, and it's always been inspirational, and to me that's been something to emulate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's nice if you can drop those ideas and other people can work with it. Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Hey,
well, Stef,
can you tell us maybe a bit more about Blockstream? Because obviously, I think most of our listeners and viewers know what Blockstream is and what it does. But maybe you can summarize it in a shorter way, just to clear our minds a bit.
Yeah, I think I was employee number 10. I was a bit delayed because I had a full-time job working at IBM at the time, and I was on sabbatical for a bit, and I promised to go back. And anyway, so. Before getting lured across. Blockstream was originally founded by a number of Bitcoin Core developers who wanted to have a way of having a business that could develop Bitcoin related things and pay for some of the Bitcoin Core development work. Because there are a lot of exchanges and things doing stuff, but very little giving back. And so the idea was, hey, we should found a company that does Bitcoin related stuff specifically, not altcoins, but Bitcoin. And then we can use that to kind of fund further development. So we do a whole heap of really random stuff. We're like a small conglomerate, really. Like there's mining, there's satellite, there's lightning, there's there's liquid, there's a whole pile of just different random things that we ended up doing. But fundamentally, it's a Bitcoin company, right? And has been a Bitcoin company now for 7 years, doing Bitcoin related stuff. So
cool. So
nice, yeah.
And that's the main reason because that's the main reason why we invited you for the show, of course, and of course because you are also a Lightning developer. And I already asked you because I heard in another podcast that your wife was pushing you to work for Blockstream because it was something you like, and you are a much nicer person if you do something you like. So I can tell on the big smile on your face that you do something you like nowadays. So
so look, I had a great day job, but I took a sabbatical and I worked on at her encouraging. Took some time off from work and did a sabbatical deep dive into Bitcoin, particularly looking at like how Bitcoin could scale down to like small payments. So I wrote a side chain and toyed with that and did some really, really kind of dived into that. And then after that, right at the end of my sabbatical, Blockstream drops this paper on side chains. And I'm like, that was what I was trying to build. Why didn't you do this 6 months ago? Anyway, so they got talking to me and I was like, oh man, do I want to work for a startup again? Because last time I did that was the .com boom in the late 90s. And it, you look up .com boom on Wikipedia, it redirects to .com crash. So that tells you everything you need to know. So, I ended up with a whole heap of stock options that were worth exactly zero. And I was like, do I want to really work for a startup again? I don't know. And she was like, no, look, go. Do it, not a problem. Sure, you'll probably be looking for work again in a year's time because startups. But you'll be much nicer to live with in the meantime. So I think. So she was incredibly. She was incredibly supportive. Yeah, really supportive of leaving my perfectly good job for like this insane magic internet money startup.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, kudos.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to hear, and a cool story you have. And we have all kind of questions for you, but it has to be in the part we call the 21 minutes. So if you are ready, you are rubbing your hands. So I think you are.
Let's do it.
We'll enter the part. Edward, are you ready, Edward? Also.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Connect the world.
We start off with Blockstream, of course. Blockstream states on their website the release of its own implementation, C Lightning, in February 2020. But we know that you released it, the 0.5 version, in October 2016. What was your role in it? Can you tell us more about that time?
Wow. So we have to go back to when the Lightning paper dropped. This paper dropped about the Lightning Network by Taj Dryja and Joseph Poon. And they described this way that we could move Bitcoin really fast, basically. And it was interesting. And Greg Maxwell was this. I was about to fly across to talk to Greg Maxwell, who was the legendary CTO of Blockstream at the time, about working for them. I was going to work on Bitcoin Core. It's going to be really cool. And I read the paper and I couldn't understand it. I was like, I don't get it. Like, it was really weird. And so I had to read it again. And then I asked some people and they said, I don't think it's all there. Oh, okay. I ended up sitting down with a nice glass of red, and I actually read the paper the third time. And this time I took notes. And about halfway through, I realized they described every single friggin' tree in the forest, but they'd never described the whole forest. So I ended up writing a series of blog posts, which was basically, here's the 3 things you need to understand in order to read the paper to understand the Lightning Network. So a lot of people got started with that. And by the time I got across to Blockstream, like a couple of weeks later, Greg Maxwell ended up saying, hey, instead of working on Bitcoin Core, we think you should write the Lightning Network, because no one else was going to do it. Like, it was this paper, they dropped it, they weren't going to do anything with it. And he's like, we think this should exist. It's exciting. And I was a little bit like, but I wanted to work on Bitcoin Core with all the cool kids. I was going to be, that was, but so it was too good an opportunity, right? It was this landmark paper that obviously described something that we really wanted in Bitcoin. And so, perfect chance. So I started working on it, refining the ideas, because originally it required a soft fork to work. So we refined that so that we could deploy it without, with Segwit as it was coming, and wrote some pieces and everything else. And then, and then Taj and Joseph did actually end up founding a company, which they've since left, which is Lightning Labs, and a group in Paris, Eclair, Async, started working on it too. So we all kind of had implementations. We had a complete implementation that worked. We had the first Lightning implementation that worked. We went to Milan and we said, cool. And we all kind of put our ideas together. Now we had some experience and we had to tear it apart because we completely rewrote the spec. And so the 0.6 took a while to come out because we had to rewrite everything the way we'd agreed to do it in Milan, so it'll interoperate. So that was kind of my role. And this is my experience, right? Standards and bringing things together is really important. We definitely wanted this to be an open network where, not only would all those players interoperate, but anyone who came in future could write a Lightning client that would just work with the rest of the network. The same way the internet works, right? So
exactly. Yeah,
that's my background.
Cool. Hey, and you already told us that Blockstream has all these different projects. And what was the idea behind the Blockstream satellite?
It was cool, and so we should do it. So I had this theory of businesses, right? People think of businesses as, they identify a target and they'll say, that's rubbish. Businesses do random crap, and some of it makes money, and they keep doing that stuff, right? Businesses stumble into business models all the friggin' time, right? They're so dumb. Like, it's amazingly stupid generally. Satellite was cool, and we started doing it, and then it turned out to be useful. So we keep doing it. That's pretty much the story of satellite. So satellite makes sense because Bitcoin's a broadcast network, right? These things happen and you have to tell everyone at once, all right? So you can do it over the internet, but it's kind of weird because you actually just want to spray it out to everyone. Satellite's perfect for that, right? Also, it's more robust to have multiple sources of blocks. Obviously, the big problem with Bitcoin, one of the big problems is that if you can't see the whole network, then you can tell that you can't see the whole network, but you can't do much about it, right? So the more sources of blocks, the better. So having this independent source of blocks is obviously something that's important. And it's important that it exists even if you don't know it, because if somebody's trying to attack you, they don't know if you have a satellite dish. It doesn't have to be a big satellite dish either, right? So
that's right. It's very small. Yeah. Do you have it yourself or?
No, because I'm in Australia. It's actually we need a K-band dish, and I can't use the one that so it's actually complicated. I'll keep waiting for them to produce the kit for me, and I can just plug it in because time. But no, there are people here who do. And that's the thing, right? So you're like, well, you could have a dish. So it's not worth trying to attack you because you might have a satellite source. But particularly, obviously there's a link there with mining. If you can get a way to push blocks up, which you don't do very often, potentially if you're solo mining, then mining off satellite is certainly possible. And obviously that's something that we're seeing with stranded resources and stuff. So it turns out it's really practically useful as well as a cool project that the world needs.
Yeah, and actually we use it in our community also because we're creating all those rings of fire. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, but we call ourselves the Masters of Ceremony because we guide everyone who is participating. And one of our Masters of Ceremony actually has a Blockstream satellite, and he's using it because it also gives you the most recent graph of the Lightning Network, right? And sometimes we have problems with gossip. And then, the community member who's owning that Blockstream satellite is using the graph from his Blockstream satellite to push it to the node operator within the group who has the problems with reaching the most recent gossip. So we also use it very much, and it can be very helpful for us to get rid of those gossip issues. So
he made a video also about it for other node members. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Rusty,
Christian Decker started pushing all the gossip across there too, because you've got a satellite, why not use it, right? So not just the Bitcoin network now,
exactly.
And you can send your own messages and spam people.
Yeah,
from space.
From space, exactly. Well, Rusty, what's the difference between Blockstream Aqua, Jade, and Blockstream Green? They're all wallets. You can use Blockstream Jade and Green together also. Can you tell us more about differences?
So Blockstream Green is the original. It was actually Green Address. It was a company bought by Blockstream 5 years ago, quite a while ago now. And that is a non-custodial wallet. So the deal is that it's 2 of 2 signatures. You have a signature, they have a signature. And so that way they can do 2FA and things like that. It sends you a message or you authenticate to have it sign off on things. But the funds are always under your control because you always have, there's a time lock. And after that time, it returns just to your single control. So there's no ability for Blockstream to seize funds or anything like that. So it's a really interesting hybrid wallet and something that was fascinating for me. Now, Aqua was an attempt at writing a really simplified wallet, just single sig, everything else. So that's kind of a secondary. I would go straight to Green myself. I think it's seen a lot of development. It sees a lot of ongoing development and is the wallet that I use. Jade is actually a hardware wallet. It was an experiment in can we produce like a $40, I think it's like $46 US hardware wallet that kind of uses off-the-shelf components. It has a little screen. It does NFC. It does all the things you expect, or you can plug it in. And like this nice little hardware wallet that isn't, up around the $100 range. Like, how cheap can we make a hardware wallet? And I think we can probably still go cheaper if we mass produce even more.
That's nice that
it works with everything too. It's not just a Blockstream.
That it's possible to make it that cheap. So that's interesting. And there's also a Blockstream AMP. It's an asset management platform that allows users to issue and manage assets such as stablecoins on the Liquid network. Will oil, gold, and other assets also be implemented? Is it the start of some kind of DeFi on the Bitcoin network?
No, it's not. So this runs on the Liquid network. So Liquid is a sidechain. You basically peg things in, but Liquid has a Liquid Bitcoin, which is basically like, here's your token for your Bitcoin that we owe you, kind of thing. So there's a federation of companies that control it. So it's better than dropping it in a single exchange, but it still has that federation issue. That there are a number of people that are literally holding the Bitcoins, like between all the machines around the world. A consensus of those is holding the Bitcoins, which are reflected on the network. Now, it's perfectly auditable, and you can run your Liquid node, and you can see everything and check all the sums, but there is that risk. But it also has a couple of interesting things. One is confidential transactions, confidential assets, so that you can actually see the amounts. You can add them up cryptographically on each transaction, but you can't actually see what's in each transaction, which is really cool. And we have other assets. Anyone can issue an asset, right? So you can go, cool, I'm going to issue Rusty coins or, Rusty's coffee tokens, whatever. You can do that cryptographically and send those around the world on Liquid. That's fine. It works same as anything else. And of course, they could use them confidentially, so they couldn't see that you're sending coffee tokens or whatever, and all that. And what AMP does is AMP is like a 2 of 2 system as well above that. So if you have a registered security that you actually require regulatory control and stuff like that, because it's a registered security and not an actual DeFi scam, then you would register that with appropriate bodies, and AMP allows you to track that. And they will basically just sign off on a transfer, but they verify that both users are registered AMP users and have all the details needed. But that's completely optional, right? So that's for securities that have that feature, and it has the feature like, I lost my keys. And so, you can actually, then it can say, right, I will no longer sign off on those anymore. And we will issue you new ones. The issuer issues new ones, and we will sign off on those and transfer you to you. That stuff that people expect from like bonds and stocks and stuff like that old school things, all built on top of Liquid. So usually you wouldn't have to worry about AMP. But if you're doing something like the Blockstream mining node, which is a registered security in, I want to say Luxembourg, not really my area, but registered securities, that is the kind of level that people expect, and that's how that works. So it's just a second signer off on everything, and checks. Yep, you both got AMP IDs, great. You can transfer whatever you want.
Cool. Hey, and you already told us that you were searching for something like the Lightning Network, although you didn't know you were searching for the Lightning Network during the summer of 2015. But what was what did you exactly do when what did you exactly saw when you started to work at Blockstream and they wanted to for you to help building the Lightning Network?
So. It was just a concept, right? At the point, the Lightning Network was like concept. Hey, we can do this. It had all the pieces, right? They showed that you could do atomic swaps, which we already kind of knew about. That you could relay them through this network, which was a cute trick with a timing offset, so that you couldn't be cheated within certain windows with certain trade-offs, as long as you were watching the chain and stuff like that. So it was, and other pieces of this had been available before, but putting the whole thing together hadn't really happened. So. For me, that was eye-opening. It's like, wow, we can build this. But a whole new network, right? It's a whole new thing. It had taken us so long to get like the Bitcoin network up. Now you've got to build a whole new one on top of it, right? It's a big job. But networking is my background, and standards are also my background. So I was like, okay, well,
And did you know
it's kind of perfect?
Could you imagine at that time that we are now having this huge network of, I think it was 3,600 Bitcoin as of today, Edward? We just looked it up before the show.
Exactly. Yeah, it was an all-time high in Lightning.
Was it something you could dream of at that time, or is it way beyond your imagination?
No, it hasn't got there yet. So in my imagination, it was like in my imagination, we had kind of two modes. One, we had like on-chain Bitcoin, and that was always going to be kind of like big transfers and everything else. But Lightning's real sweet spot is tiny transfers. Like, and we still haven't seen that yet, right? Like, so to some extent, some of the podcast boost kind of things are almost getting there. Yeah. But the ability to send sub-cent payments is something nobody knows what to do with because we haven't had it before, right? There's no point having this great business plan that involves sub-cent payments if you can't actually do it. Now you can. It'll take a while for somebody to come up with a reason to do it, right? Because by definition, any business that would have worked with that doesn't exist. Yeah. So we're in this learning phase where people are like, well, now we can do this. What could we do with it? And it'll be someone smarter than me who'll come up with it and do something.
We're at the start, right?
But it can be something with content creators or something. We talked about it a lot, Edward, that it's for content creating, it can be a real big deal, of course. But, if you
that's one use case, to pay a content creator without an intermediate. That's very interesting, and like you said, paying by the second or something with very small parts of a Bitcoin. That's we're only at the start, I think. So
But the other thing is that is different about the Lightning Network that people haven't really got their heads around is that it's symmetrical, right? There's nothing on the protocol, and I've tried to maintain this as the layers go up. People always think of payment networks as like, there are a few people receiving, but a lot of people sending. Credit card networks, right? It's easy to get a credit card pretty much or have some kind of connectivity, but it's much harder to receive payments. On the Lightning Network, it's symmetrical, and it works much better if it is symmetrical. So the receiving side is really important too, like the ability to receive tiny payments. But our whole internet payment structure is not set up that way. It's asymmetrical, whereas Lightning's symmetrical. So unless you put that on top and you bring your own biases towards it, there's no reason that you wouldn't be receiving payments. So people are like, how are we going to onboard people onto Lightning? It's like, well, I think that's kind of almost the wrong question, right? You can be on board with Lightning, you can just start receiving money. Now, why you would receive money and all that infrastructure and why would people send you money? That's business questions. I don't know. I'm technical, but
we are so early, Risty. We are so early.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really important to bear in mind that is a key difference between one of the key differences between existing networks is that it's perfectly symmetrical. You can receive if you run a Lightning node. Yeah, you can just receive as easily as you can send.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
And you worked on the Bolt 12 Lightning offers. What are the biggest advantages when you compare it to Bolt 11?
So Bolt 11 was a format I invented just to make payments because we needed some way of communicating. Here's who you got to pay, and here's the hash that you're going to get the secret for and stuff like that, and here's the amount and little description. It was kind of like a hack. But really, we want a higher level of experience on the Lightning Network. We want I want something that I can print out that can sit anywhere that works rather than so Bolt 11 you're supposed to print out a fresh one for everyone. It's dangerous if two people try to pay the same thing, all that stuff, right? So you want one that's like you can tattoo it on your arm and you can receive payments that way, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, that's great. Slap it on your web page, all that thing. So we want a static one. But there's a whole heap of other things that go with this from our experience with Bolt 11 and with payments. You want payer proofs so that you can prove that not only that it was paid, but that you were the one who paid it, for example. So that requires a key and things like this. So it's a much nicer experience, and it also has things like recurrence, which actually got eliminated from the spec because it was so much stuff that we decided to cut it down, eliminate the minimum, do the minimum for now. But it's sitting in the wings, and so the offer says, hey, you pay this once a week, whatever. It's a subscription service, and that's all built in and baked into the Bolt 12 concept. There's a whole heap of privacy benefits and things that have gone in there as well, but fundamentally, it is a better invoice system. Now, people have built other ones over the web and stuff, but this is built into the Lightning Network, and I'm pretty excited about what we can do there.
Exactly. That's the big difference between LNURL and Bolt 12, right? Because it's web hosted and this is native within Lightning Core. And I also think, if we talk about adoption, it's very important to have Bolt 12 to really be a solution for merchants, because what you say right now, it's a real awesome implementation, and it provides a lot of solutions. And what are the biggest obstacles that exist before Bolt 12 could really be broadly available?
Okay, that's a good question. So the way the spec works is that someone proposes something, and then you need two independent implementations to both actually make it work and make it work together. And that's really important. It's not just a checkbox, right? Because when a second person comes along, the first person's got it in their head and they build this thing and they play with it and they keep refining it, whatever. Second person comes along and we'll see stuff and go like, why did you do it that way? That was stupid, right? Or hold on, if you just change this one thing, it'd be so much more powerful, like so much better, or simpler, or whatever else, right? So that second person has a huge impact on just checking everything. It's one thing to read it and go, okay, but it's another thing to actually try to make it work. When you actually try to build it again, you find all the details, you get into all the crevices. So that process has saved us a number of times, and I'm a huge fan of it. So we can't finalize it until we've got the second implementation. Now, Eclair and LDK are both working on implementing full offers. So we will have, they're kind of racing at the moment. We'll see who comes up with, that. But until we've got both of those and they're happy and they're like, okay, I can't live with this, or, I want to add this, whatever. We won't have a final spec. Until we've got a final spec, I am not prepared to push it out too hard. It's experimental, that's fine, play with it. But, as the bolt12.org webpage says, do not get this tattooed on your chest until it's finalized in the spec, because otherwise it might not work in future.
Patience.
And
you can't erase a tattoo, or obviously not very easy. So
see, the thing is, QR codes have redundant encoding. So if you didn't change one bit in it, it's actually quite painful. You're gonna have to change a lot of your tattoo. You don't want to do that.
Exactly.
So just a word of caution. But it's okay. So once it's finalized in the spec, then we can go, okay, cool, great. Everyone should start using it. We should roll it out in wallets and all those things, right? And then you've got to get wallet authors on board. They've got to read the spec, adopt it, libraries, all that stuff. There's a whole heap of infrastructure that goes in to kind of make this work. And then you've got, you've got to handle. You still want to handle LNURL. So how do you embed an offer inside an LNURL? And there's a way of doing that. But all this stuff needs to be stepped through. So it just takes time to do it right.
Yeah, hey, and at the moment, it's cheaper to send a big amount of sets on chain, obviously. But do you think in the future we will see bigger amounts of sets moving on the Lightning Network, or will it be just for micro payments or small payments?
I always thought it was going to be for micropayments, but micro kind of moves with the network, right? So I don't bat an eyelid at sending like €100 or whatever, or even 10 times that amount in theory across the Lightning Network. It just works at the moment. So that's a bit of a surprise how fast the capacity has gone up. Now, part of that is that a lot of payment mechanics in most of the implementations are not very good. And you can solve that by just creating bigger, fatter channels. So to some extent, you're like, well, the Lightning Network has so many sats on it for the wrong reasons, right? It has them because you want everyone to make these big fat channels because it just makes everything easier. Like everything just friggin' works if you've got huge capacities. But it's like, really, we should just be using the stuff we've got better, and then that would, but you wouldn't need such chunky channels, right? If we had sort of better payment tech. So that will come too. What excites me is the number of nodes. So I think of like measuring the capacity of the Lightning Network is weird because it's like, so I think of like the money you've got on your Lightning node is like a float in a till. So, if you have a cash register, you need to have some money at the beginning of the day just to give change and stuff, right? The money in your Lightning node is like that, right? You need that because, you need it to make it work. But it's a weird way to measure the economy by adding up the amount in everyone's tills at a time and going, that's the size of the network. But that's what we do for the Lightning Network. Yeah. So it's really weird. What more interesting me is like, how many tills have you got? Like how many nodes are there out there? And as that number goes up, it implies that there's more people jumping on board, more people doing stuff on the network.
Yeah, we can tell only by looking at the growth of our community, obviously, because they're all node operators, and it increases by every week. So, Edward, can you maybe ask another question? I hear the gong, but we can.
I have one question because of the Lightning Gossip messages, and we talked about gossip earlier. And not so long ago, you posted a proposal for a new set of Lightning Gossip messages, and the goal is to maximize efficiency. Can you explain why it's so important and how it works?
In 1 minute? Sure.
Okay. In 1 minute.
Take your time, man.
Yes. So we have, Alex Myers, we had a new hire. I put him on this. And I went, cool, you can go do this. And he is basically, so there's this thing called Mini Sketch. And Mini Sketch is basically this, how do I describe this? It's a thing from Peter Willa and a few others. And you basically have a summary of everything, and I create this sketch, and I send it to you, and you have your summary. And as long as our two ideas of what things look like is pretty close, you can pull the sketch apart and go, oh, cool, here's the things I don't have, or here's the things I have that you don't have. So as long as we're already pretty close with Gossip, like we both got the Lightning Network, kind of, we're pretty good idea. We both bootstrapped, we're kind of in sync, but there's small changes, less than the size of that set that we send. Well, I can just send you this set thing, and you pull it apart. Oh, that's weird. I don't have that one. Can I have that, please? Or, oh, you don't have this. I'm going to send you that now. So it's really good because once you're in sync, it allows you to stay in sync really cheaply. You send one of these, like, 1K every minute or so, and you just check, are we in sync or not? The other thing is you can tell if you're really different. If something's really changed, if you're like, you've got all this stuff I don't, it's immediately obvious. You're like, wow, something's happening. And then we can fall back onto fetching stuff. But at the moment, we spend a lot of time just kind of like sending out gossip to everyone. Like, just like if you're well connected, you're gonna know already, right? You're gonna get everything from 10 people, and it's a huge way. And you're gonna send it out probably to 10 people, right? So, and there are heuristics to try to reduce it, but the more you kind of reduce the redundancy of the network, the more problems you get. Oh, well, not everyone knows everything and stuff like that. So this is why stuff like Mini Sketch is really important. And that's the way we're going to go. It's what the Bitcoin network's doing with their mempool stuff now as well.
Cool.
Using Mini Sketch. So we're like, we will steal that technology. Thank you.
And when will it be released? Do you have some time frame or?
Look, Alex has just started at Blockstream, and he's kind of learning all about the Lightning Network and everything else. And I went, cool, you should implement this. Could it be ready tomorrow? Is that good? Is that good, Alex? Yeah.
I hope he's not listening to our podcast, because then he will feel a hell of a pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. So look, it will be ready when it's ready. Like it's still in that development phase where you're like, cool, you write a spec, you write the implementation, You fix the implementation, you fix the spec. You go, that was a dumb idea. You throw it away again. You start again. You know, so we're still kind of working on that. At some point, there'll be a spec out, and it'll have a demo implementation, and then we shop it around to the others. We go, cool. Does anyone else want to implement this so we can push it forward? And sometimes there's horse trading, right? So you go, cool. Okay, I'll implement your favorite thing that you've been bugging me about for ages if you implement this. So that's how it works between the implementations, right? Cool. Someone else needs to implement as well, and we'll go around. So no timeline.
Cool.
Thanks for explaining, Rusty. And we had a lot of more questions, of course, as always. So we need to invite you another time again, if you like.
That would be fantastic.
Cool. All right.
Verbindt de wereld.
So we still have one question left for you, Rusty, actually, because last week we had Sevi as our guest. He is the founder of lnrouter.app. And we asked Sevi to come up with a question for you. So Edward will play the audio file and then you may answer it, please. All
right, here it comes.
Yes, I have a question for him. I'm actually a big admirer of his work. So, Rusty, what do you think is a good payment speed in the Lightning Network in the future? Like, what's the maximum value of payment speed we should have in the future? When I go back to the example I made before, if you stand in a grocery store, you have a big queue behind you, and when you want to pay your bills, what's a good payment speed?
Right. Yeah. The answer to that is 6 seconds. And I know because I stood in a grocery store early on in this experience before Lightning. And I went, how fast does a payment network have to be? And I stood at the automated checkout because I didn't have people behind me, but there. And I went, how long does it take me to get annoyed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, now I'm annoyed. And so the answer was 6 seconds. So therefore, that's my benchmark. It's got to work in 6 seconds. I made a payment the other day to buy a T-shirt, and it took like 12, and that was annoying.
Yeah, that's too long. Yeah, exactly.
It was too long. It was too slow. So there are some things coming down the pipe that will help with that, PTLCs and music and a few other things. So yeah, we can definitely get that number down.
But the less the better, right? If it can be less than 6, it's even better, right? So
yeah, smaller is better. But at some point you go, well, okay, let's not waste our time getting too tight. But yeah, no, exactly. I think 6 is like your outer boundary, right? But the other thing is there's 2 times. So the person who's being paid actually sees it getting paid before you get the response to say it's been paid. And you see that, like when you pay on the line, you see it goes and then your wallet. Yeah. Oh yeah, I paid.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, maybe if you want to, you can say, well, that's the 6 seconds. When it goes, I've got the money, maybe. But either way, 6 seconds is absolutely the outer boundary of like reasonableness.
Cool.
Okay, and next time we have a new guest, Thomas Jestifer, and he's the co-founder of Amboss.space. And we also want to ask him a question from you. Do you have a question for him?
Oh yeah, Thomas. This is a less technical question, but how will you know when the Lightning Network has succeeded? How will you know when we've made it?
That's a nice one. Cool. We'll hear about it next episode.
Yeah. Conecte o mundo.
And it will succeed, of course. Well, thank you, Rusty, for being with us. We had a blast, and all those questions, we're going to do it again.
Yeah, that was heaps of fun, and yeah, like we did not scratch the surface there, did we? But.
And I can tell it's that early at your side because you're such amazing energy, man. And you, how many cups of coffee did you drink before the show?
Oh, just one, but I'm awake now. Yeah, the Lightning Network. The Lightning Network's exciting. This stuff is exciting. Like it wakes you up.
Yeah, man. I have the exact same feeling, man. That's nice to see. And yeah, especially when you talk with relatives or maybe people you know or people who know and are also interested in this space. That it gives you way more energy. So I can.
And we all thank your wife, of course, that you're
say thank you to her from us.
Everybody has a wife like that.
Yeah, I don't know. She does not get it, right? Like, so yeah, this is the thing. I mean, it's exciting for me, but I really, for no coiners or people who are not inside, it's like, I find it really hard to communicate what is so exciting about the work that we do.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Why Lightning is so cool and stuff. It's hard. But I think in years, I'm like, that was that thing you were talking about. It's like, that was that thing I've been working on for like 6 years now, and it's good that you finally noticed. So
I helped building this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool,
Yeah.
well.
So people scan an invoice and they were like, so what are they talking about to me about Bolt 11 or something? And it's like, how long can I go before going, I wrote that.
Yeah,
that's me.
exactly.
That's
me. That's my fault. Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I hope the recording works.
Yes,
wait for
it works perfect. Thanks for listening, and thanks also to all members participating in the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire. And of course, thanks to everyone helping to connect the world with us. If you want to support us in our mission, then you can donate us using the bots in our Telegram group. And don't forget to like and share our content on your favorite platform. And we hope with Bolt 12 we can use it with another QR code. Keep those notes running, guys, and sets flowing and rings burning. And see you all next week with Thomas Jestifer on the same Lightning channel. Hooroo, Rusty.
Goodbye, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.